True self-love is tested when it's hard to love yourself. True self-love is tested with your ability to love the parts of yourself that are hard to love. What does that mean? Self-hate isn't usually obvious. It's sometimes very hidden and indirect. No one completely hates themselves. It's usually hidden within the parts of yourself that you're ashamed of. And a lot of the times when we see other people talking about self-hate, we may not relate because on the outside we see that we do love ourselves. But sometimes we may be practicing self-hate without noticing. And here's a list of 5 ways you may be practicing self-hate while you're unaware. Number 1 is self-abandonment. A lot of the times we are trying to talk to ourselves to communicate what we need through our emotions. And so if we're constantly running away from the uncomfortable emotions we feel in our body, we are actually abandoning this part of ourselves. The uncomfortable emotions you feel are actually the most important emotions you should pay attention to, because the more painful it feels, the more urgent it is. And so running away from how you feel and suppressing it and trying to numb it is actually a form of self-abandonment because you're not doing what's best for you. How you can solve this is to sit down and face those uncomfortable emotions that you feel within your body. Once you face the part of yourself that feels insecure, and by validating this part of yourself, you're able to free it. This is actually a form of shadow work. And so if you want to avoid self-abandonment, you should practice shadow work. I can make a video about shadow work because it's something I'm very passionate about. Number 2 is self-sabotage. If you feel like you can achieve more and do more and that you're not living to your fullest potential, how can you love yourself if you feel like you're being your biggest enemy? Sometimes you may self-sabotage because of fear of success or fear of failure. So once you stop self-sabotage, it becomes easier to love yourself because you become on your side. Number 3 is karma. Sometimes we may feel self-hate because we deserve to feel self-hate. What does that mean? If you ever made someone feel bad about themselves and achieving their goals and how they look, you will experience that yourself because cause and effect. Number 4 is that your behavior can be learned. As children, they're born loving themselves and accepting themselves. But sometimes you may see people around you being harsh on themselves, saying negative things towards themselves. And you start seeing it, sadly, as socially acceptable. And so sometimes you may practice self-hate just because you thought at some point in your life that this was socially acceptable and that loving yourself is shameful. This can appear in very minor ways. And number 5, if you have low vibrational energy. Having low vibrational energy, which is when your energy is dominantly in the lower scales of consciousness, it becomes very hard to love anything in your life, including yourself. And so once you learn how to raise your vibration, you will naturally let go of the learned self-hate mechanisms that you have been using. You will let go of them and you will go back to your natural state of being, which is full of self-love.